to the STB Season 12 Japanese Grand Prix. My name is Jam, and today I am commentating by myself to give you the Japan race. So we have the drivers going around today doing their laps, and my game sound is quite loud. Okay, and there we go. So we have LRS Mercury on his outlap for the Red Bull, and currently the standings do look like the Red Bull is doing quite well from race 7 in Belgium. But not having absolute lull here is going to be very difficult for me indeed, and as well is going to be very challenging for the drivers in the Japanese Grand Prix today. A lot of corners around this track, a lot of difficult corners indeed, and it's going to be very tough for those drivers to set some good laps here today, as some drivers do struggle around this track. It does look like it's going to be dry, however we are not too sure what could happen. The Ferrari Scott, who joined around Azerbaijan, I think he joined in Azerbaijan. Well, I first seen him in Belgium, and seeing him in Belgium, he was quite a strong driver indeed. He set some mighty fine laps, going from the back grid right up to the top, and he'll fight his way up there as well. Maldi seems to be still in the pits. However, Maldi is a pretty strong driver. He's mainly a commentator, really. However, it'll be nice to see if he can get up to the top grid today, as you don't usually find him up there. Total Pure, last season's third place winner, is very fast, and he's racing for the Haas this season. And it's going to be nice to see what laps he can set as well. He has some very good raw pace, especially in that qualifying. All the drivers here have good pace in the qualifying, and you know, I'd love to see them pull out some good laps here and have a good race. Bianchi, I've seen Bianchi around the middle of the grid, but however, I think personally that he can do quite well around Japan, so it could work out for him. However, I am not sure how that could go. He has his days where he's quite quick, but he also has those days where he's middle pack. Total Pure, oh, the drivers are setting their laps, and Total Pure sets a 1:28.5 with 7 minutes and 54 seconds left to the qualifying. As well as 5 people have set laps currently. LRS Mercury just behind him with a 1:28.5. LRS... Wow, okay. VSR Gravity places a 1:28.2, placing that first in the qualifying. Gravity has always had that strong qualifying pace. However, I'm not sure how he's going to do in the race. I mean, sometimes his race pace can be a little bit lower than usual. Usually he is quite quick in the qualifying, but then in the race, sometimes he can find it a little tricky when those drivers get out on the grid. But if he can keep that first place in the qualifying, then he might take this race. And personally, I think Gravity is a quite strong driver, and he could take it. However, Total Pure, with his pace, is going to want to fight that and make sure that he can have that position going into the first corner. Dylan Games, I haven't seen him a lot. However, today he is in the Mercedes, and he has set a 1 minute 30.3. Oh, and Gravity seems to be slowing down a little bit by looks of things. I think he's just kind of like going around, or was that his Red Bull teammate there? Okay, we have DJ Danny going around to set his laps. And here we go. Let's see if DJ Danny, what he can set, he set a 130 flat, and that's gonna put him in 5th in the qualifying with 5 minutes left to go. And I'm not sure how these drivers are gonna do, but they need to beat Gravity. Having 1st place in the qualifying. Oh, and Bourne Buckley is out of the race. Well, out of the qualifying, I should say. Wow. Oh god, that was a good spin there. Oh, that's rough for him. He's only in 4th in the qualifying. He's usually top of the pack. And that's Bourne Buckley out. I can't believe that. That is really astonishing. Bourne Buckley, I never expect to be out of the qualifying this early. I mean, I've seen him go out like once in the 2-minute range. However, there's still 5 minutes left, and that's the best lap he could set as well. So drivers are gonna go ahead, and if they can get ahead of Buckley here, Buckley's raw race pace is not gonna matter. I mean, if they're really far ahead of him, then I mean he needs to be fast. And DJ Danny, let's see if he can get ahead of him here now. And he sets. Did he just set the same lap? Wow. Okay, DJ Danny sets the same lap again. I've really never seen that happen. Or he set a worse lap, but it looked pretty fast coming to that last corner there. Everyone seems to be in the pits now, probably changing their tires, and Maldi is out setting a lap as well. He seems to kind of nick that grass in the Toro Rosso. He does look like he's going a little bit violent here, and kind of losing speed with that car. And what is he doing here? He's nicking the grass, and he's trying to gain that race pace. I think Maldi might be out of practice here around Japan, but I'd like to see what he could do. And Maldi goes on the side a little bit. Oh, wait, that's not Maldi. That's Maddie. Wow. Usually, I thought that was Maldi. I was like, how was Maldi up that far? And there we go, Maddie in the Toro Rosso. Okay. I'm pretty sure then that Maldi... Wait, I don't know why, but Maldi's been in the pits for a very long time. I thought Maddie was in the pits and Maldi was out, but it seems like Maddie is going around setting that lap, and he is quite a bit. Like I said, Japan has a lot of corners, so it's going to be tough for the drivers to, if they haven't practiced, to even set a good lap, really. And Bourne Buckley, my heart goes out to him here, because he has lost it. He is the best position he can get right now is 5th. So, I mean, that's not going to be very good for him whatsoever. And Toxic Fusion beats Gravity by 1/10. Alright. So here we go. Gravity needs to come out and beat Toxic Fusion. And if he doesn't, then Gravity is going to have to accept second place in this qualifying. Toxic Fusion has set a better lap than Gravity with that 128.2, which I didn't really see coming, but Gravity needs to go ahead and set another lap for sure. He needs to be careful on his outlap, save his tires, and then go absolutely ham and try and beat his lap here. But we will come back to him now in a bit. Total Pure trying to get up ahead of Gravity as well, and I think he might just be able to do that. Total Pure's pace is quite good, and Total Pure is coming around the last corner to set that lap. And here we go. Total Pure does not move up. Okay, so 128.5 does look to be his best lap, but he has to beat it now. Can he do it? I don't know. 1 minute and 18 seconds left to this qualifying. This is Total Pure's last chance to set his lap. And if he doesn't, then he is going to have to accept third unless LRS Mercury can put up a fight and steal it. VSR Gravity needs to set better than a 128.1. And he's coming around the first, well, he's going to the first corner now. Can he do it? First corner, Gravity goes in on the inside, pushing this car. Gravity is going to try and his best, and I know he's going to push as hard as he can, and that looked like he was about to lose that car there. However, that maybe took about 1/10. If he can regain that, that'd be really, really good for him. He really does need this first place in the qualifying to get him. And who's out there? It does look like someone just went out. Bianchi went out. And Bianchi retires from the qualifying. So that's 2 out already of the qualifying. 2 very, very talented drivers already gone. And here we go. Gravity needs to beat Toxic Fusion with that 128.1. Can he recover? And there goes Gravity. I think Gravity is lagged out. And that's Gravity's chance. Gravity taking second place in the qualifying. Can't catch up to Toxic Fusion. Total Pure as well is... Oh, LRS Mercury has beaten Total Pure. Total Pure needs to put up that fight and beat LRS Mercury to get up into that third position. But can he do it? He needs to gain 1/10 around this lap to be able to beat LRS Mercury. Oh, and there it goes, LRS. No, that goes. There goes Total Pure. Okay. And there goes his chance to catch up to LRS Mercury. And it does look like Total Pure is going to take fourth. I was like, there goes his chance to catch up to LRS Mercury. He's totally lost it. And here we go. Maddie is the only one that's going to set a lap now. And it does look like he's the only one. And he comes up to 5th place, putting Dylan Games down and Bourne Buckley. So Bourne Buckley went from 5th all the way down to 7th. And that's his race done there. Dennis VKK in the pits. So it does look like this qualifying is just about over. And Maldi is still in the pits as well. It does look like Maldi is going to be last in the grid. I am very, very surprised to see Maldi not going out to set a lap. I mean, at first I thought Maddie was Maldi. However, Maldi hasn't came out for a lap, and his chance is gone now. So he has no other choice but to stay at that back grid and try and work his way up through the drivers. However, there are some pretty strong drivers here. We have his competition. We'll call mid-grid, 9th. He needs to get ahead of the drivers like Floating Eye, Regret Roberts. He needs to get ahead of Scott, Dennis VKK, Bianchi, and then to go up even further, he needs to pass all these really talented drivers. And I don't think Maldi really is capable of doing that. He is a very good driver. However, I am not sure if he can do that. And that is our qualifying, folks. And there we go. This is the Japanese Grand Prix. Race underway now in just a minute. In first, we have Toxic Fusion. Second, VSR Gravity. Third, LRS Mercury. Fourth, Total Pure. Fifth, STB Maddie. Sixth, Dylan Games. Seventh, Bourne Buckley. Eighth, DJ Danny. Ninth, the FRT Bianchi. 10th, Dennis VKK. 11th, Scott. 12th, Regret Roberts. 13th, Floating Eye 360. 14th, STB Maldi. And 15th, to round off the grid, Finnish player with no time. And here we go. The race is about to get underway. We have the drivers getting ready to line up on the grid. To be honest, I was surprised when I seen those two drivers go out, and especially Maldi not setting a lap. I'm not sure what happened there. You don't usually see Maldi, you know, not trying to set a lap. You know, he's always trying to try his hardest to, you know, push his drivers and his league. So it's kind of surprising not to see him out on that qualifying grid, unless he has plans to start from the back and work his way up. However, I don't think that's going to cut it for him. And we have 8 seconds left until the Japanese Grand Prix gets underway, and we have the 5 lights. Okay, guys, and here we go. 5 lights, and away we go in the Japanese Grand Prix. First, we have Toxic Fusion. Right behind him is Gravity, trying to get up ahead of him. LRS Mercury and Total Pure going up the inside of LRS Mercury. Total Pure takes that 3rd place, and drivers are passing each other through the first corner. VSR Gravity wants that qualifying position back from Toxic Fusion. However, I'm not sure if he's going to do that. The Red Bull trying to catch up to the Haas, and his teammate in 3rd place. So this might be a Haas 1-2 here if Total Pure can get ahead of Gravity. And Gravity loses a lot of pace through that corner, and Total Pure carries it. And here we go. We have a 3-way battle for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with LRS Mercury just behind him and Dylan Games just behind all them. So we have a 5-way battle going in through the corner, the next corner here, and it's going to be nice to see how the positions change. STB Maldi passing Scott, and he's now in 12th in that Ferrari. 4 seasons in that Ferrari. Maldi, I think he wanted to try something new. However, Maldi has a lot of experience with the Ferrari, so it'll be nice to see what he can do. It does look like VSR Gravity is losing pace on Toxic Fusion. Total Pure trying to go up the inside, and here we go. VSR Gravity keeping that position. He wants it so badly. He's losing pace, and here we go. Total Pure trying to catch up to VSR Gravity, and I think he's going to do it unless Gravity breaks late and goes around the outside, and he does it. And here we go. VSR Gravity going around that corner, and he has literally went around the outside of Total Pure and took back his own position. What a nice move by Gravity there. Toxic Fusion is now going to have a wild ride on his hands. Now that Gravity is done with Total Pure, he's going to have to save those tires, gain that pace, and catch up to his championship rival, Toxic Fusion. FRT Bianchi in Games. Finnish player passes Dylan Games. Finnish player was in 15th place, all the way up to 6th now, trying to get up the inside of FRT Bianchi, his teammate. However, I don't think that's going to happen. And here we go, trying to get to 5th place. Finnish player is only 6/10 behind his teammate, FRT Bianchi. Dylan Games falls behind, and STB Maddie is catching up after losing it in that qualifying. Maldi is all the way up in 10th already now. However, he's five full seconds behind Regret Roberts. And it does look like Gravity is losing some pace on Toxic Fusion here, and Total Pure is trying to catch up to them. However, I don't think he can recover from what Gravity just did. I think Gravity kept his place very, very well. Gravity going way, way, way too much on the brakes there, I think, and kind of locking up his tires there. That may damage his tires a little bit and put down his tire wear. But he needs to go a little bit softer on the tires if he wants to save them until the end of the race. I mean, the only thing Gravity can do is if Toxic Fusion is doing a double pit stop, if Gravity does a single and keeps his pace, and if he can keep this much distance from Toxic Fusion the full time, and I think there's one driver out. Dylan Games is out. It does look like Dylan Games is gone. Out of there. However, he's going to try and catch back up to where he was. Someone went out. DJ Danny went out a little bit.
However, we have lost no drivers yet, which is quite surprising. You don't usually see that because, you know, the drivers are very aggressive and very quick in the league. So they really want to gain those points in those positions. Just like Total Pure here is trying to catch up to Gravity. However, Gravity's pace is just keeping him ahead a little bit. And Toxic Fusion setting another fastest lap. And VSR Gravity actually beats his lap right after with a 132.1. Or I think that might have been a 122.1 actually. I thought I seen a 3, but I think that would be a 2. I'm not sure. I think it would be a... Actually, it's probably 132. Might have been. However, here we go. We have Total Pure gaining, like, falling away from VSR Gravity here. Alright, I think they're coming up towards the spoon here now. And VSR Gravity is going to try and catch up to Toxic Fusion. However, it does look like he's losing a little bit of pace on him. And Toxic Fusion has just raw pace today around Japan. And that's what I said as well. Gravity needed to keep his qualifying position in order to get ahead of Toxic Fusion. It's just how it needed to go. And it does look like Toxic Fusion could keep his position.
FRT Bianchi now. Oh, Maldi receives a 3-second time penalty after, you know, warning drivers about the time penalties and stuff. Maldi gets one himself, which is pretty ironic, in my opinion. If you guys think that's ironic as well, comment in the stream. LRS Mercury going a little bit to the side there in that Red Bull, trying to catch up to Total Pure. At the start of the season, I think LRS Mercury was kind of back of the pack. However, in the Japanese Grand Prix today, he's up and ready to fight the championship leaders. So, I mean, LRS Mercury has made it a long way since the beginning of this season. And he's been doing a very great job at defending some of these top names in this league. Finnish player as well. I've seen him performing well. However, I'm really surprised to see LRS Mercury ahead of him.
However, Finnish player did come all the way from 15th place all the way up to 5th.
So it does look like Finnish player has that raw pace today. However, being 3 seconds behind, and Maddie receives a 3-second time penalty as well. Meaning the 2 STB people in the league right now already have time penalties. With no other drivers having time penalties, it's going to be difficult to see who really gets up to the top today around Japan. Total Pure needs to catch up to him as well, and LRS Mercury now only a little bit behind Total Pure. That is absolutely amazing. LRS Mercury, which is VSR Gravity's teammate, it seems like, in the Red Bull, and he goes a little bit wide, and that's gonna cost him. Total Pure pulls away, and LRS Mercury's rival is losing him. But he is doing a hell of a job of putting up a fight to Total Pure here, but he needs to get up closer in order to try and make a move. He needs to get into DRS range in order to pass Total Pure, because Total Pure has a lot of pace. However, LRS Mercury needs to beat him. Bourne Buckley all the way down in 11th now, after placing 7th in the quali. Buckley, sorry, excuse me.
Buckley is all the way down in 11th. Can he recover from this fatal accident in that qualifying? We don't really know, to be honest. Being 11th place, it's going to be hard to see if Buckley can keep up to the top and get ahead of Gravity, because now that's going to allow Gravity and Toxic Fusion and Total Pure to get ahead of Morris Buckley in the standings. He's going to lose a lot of points this race, and Gravity wants those points from Toxic Fusion to beat Morris Buckley. However, we're not sure if he can recover after that fatal accident. It does look like we have LRS Mercury only 4/10 behind him. He is so close now. And it does look like Mercury is going rapid around Japan today. Unlike some other tracks, and Floating Eye receives the first non-STB time penalty, a 3-second time penalty there. Dennis VKK is disqualified from the session. And DJ Danny disconnects. Does look like Maldi's trying to make a move on Scott here. Can he do it? Does look like they're both teammates. LRS Mercury and Total Pure just had a battle, and it does look like Total Pure is hauling away from LRS Mercury now. However, we're not sure how he's going to do. LRS Mercury is trying to chase his dreams right now and get ahead of Total Pure and get on that podium. I remember he was rapid around race 5. However, I've never seen him have pace like this. It's just total really good pace for him today. It does look like this is one of LRS Mercury's strong tracks, as well as VSR Gravity. I mean, he's usually up in the top, but Toxic Fusion is quite quick for him to stay ahead. And it does look like DJ Danny now is getting lapped with his bad connection. And Dennis VKK is disqualified, meaning there's 14 drivers left in the session out of that original 15. A lot better from what we've seen at the beginning of the season, with tons and tons of drivers going out. You would see maybe 6 or 7 go out a race. Now there's only 1 going out. LRS Mercury needs to pick up that pace around that corner as Total Pure pulls away from him in that corner a little bit. But LRS Mercury is strong in that second sector as well. So they're kind of losing time. And both of them are really losing time there from their potential laps. So if either one can pull the cat out of the bag here and possibly get that time back, it's just going to be game over. And LRS Mercury does a little bit of a dive on Total Pure there, and gets a little bit closer to him. He was 6/10 behind, now only 2/10. Is he going to try and go up the inside? No, he's not. I don't think he would do that. Floating Eye receiving another 3-second time penalty. That's 6 seconds for him. And here we go. LRS Mercury trying to get ahead of last season's 3rd place winner, and he's gonna do it. No, and going side by side, these drivers are going down the hill, and Finnish player as well is gonna get into the action. The 3-way battle, And LRS Mercury makes it up into second. Total Pure wants that position back. However, a Finnish player could be taking that as well. No. And Total Pure now looks very, very mad, trying to get ahead of LRS Mercury. If he can get into that slipstream or DRS range, he is legit going to catch up to LRS Mercury really quickly.
Actually, believe it or not, I think he's losing pace on LRS Mercury here. And as well, Finnish players losing pace. This is going to be very interesting indeed. FRT Bianchi, VSR Gravity. Oh my god. What happened to Gravity? Gravity is all the way down in 6th place now. With Bourne Buckley in 8th. It does seem like the top drivers of the grid are rotating down to the bottom as the young bloods of the league, LRS Mercury, are up on the podium, which is cool to see. Toxic Fusion just pulling away from the full grid. And here we go. Total Pure going in to change those tires. So now that's going to put LRS Mercury and Total Pure in the pits. And that's going to allow Gravity to gain 4th position. Now he needs to catch up to FRT Bianchi in order to get that 3rd place position. And as well, Finnish player to get his total position back. Toxic Fusion is just going to build a giant gap, enter the pits, change those tires. And if I were him, I'd go in and change the tires now in maybe a couple of laps and do a double pit stop, as his pace is just so raw that he'd be able to just pull away from all the drivers if he could get on those fresh tires more than anybody else. And Gravity now caught up to FRT Bianchi, so he was 3 seconds behind, but now he's very close to him. And here we go. VSR Gravity going up the inside of the Sober. VSR Gravity trying to get ahead. And I think he's going to do it around this next corner. And here he has it. FRT Bianchi goes down. And VSR Gravity takes that 3rd position. However, VSR Gravity soon is going to need a pit. So he needs to get ahead of Finnish player. And then get ahead of those people, and then go into the pits in order for him to save his race. And Finnish player's out. Oh, that was a lot of lag there, and I'd say Gravity was really confused. He was right on Finnish player's tail, and he legit just lagged out. And we have 4 people out of the race now. Maddie, Maldi, Floating Eye, and Dennis VKK are out of the race. Moving back up the grid, we have VSR Gravity, and now a second behind Finnish player. Finnish player is lagging all over the place, and FRT Bianchi is going down as well, 2 seconds behind, and LRS Mercury might be going for a double pit stop there. However, Bourne Buckley gets ahead of Regret Roberts in the Renault. VSR Gravity is trying to make a move, but he needs to make it fast as Toxic Fusion is just building this huge gap, which could be well awarded to him later. VSR Gravity goes up into second, and that's going to allow him now, if he can get ahead of everyone here and gain about a 10-second gap, change those tires, get out of the pits,
he will be set. He'll be golden. Moving down the grid, we have total Born Buckley passing finish player now as he's in the pits. So that's going to bring Buckley up in 6th. I mean, it does look like Buckley is going to stay mid-pack. I mean, he does have good pace, but not enough to catch up to all those drivers in front. I mean, Total Pure is around the same speed as him.
Me dropping my controller. Okay, dropping my controller, and pardon me, Born Buckley is not going to be able to catch up, in my mind, to get back up on that podium, unless someone really messes up, because Buckley has raw pace, yes. However, the drivers in front, right, are just on it today, and it's going to be very, very good for them. VSR Gravity is trying so hard, and he's actually, the gap's going down because he's in the pits. And there we go, VSR Gravity up into 1st. Toxic Fusion moving down, thinking he had enough gap, and now he's 2 seconds behind Gravity. And Born Buckley receives a 3-second time penalty. So now, anyone behind finish player now, if he can get ahead of Born Buckley, Buckley is done. Buckley at the moment has a 3-second time penalty. So if he gets any more penalties, he is going to move down the grid. Toxic Fusion now might want, on those new tires, is going to start catching up to Gravity on those old tires. Gravity needs to pit, or Gravity is done for here. I think Gravity has an idea. However, with all those laps left to go, I don't think Gravity's idea is really going to work. 13 laps, 1 set of tires. I mean, he needs to pit anyway. So if he needs to pit this lap, in my opinion, then pitting. He's going to try and gain that gap and then pit. That's what he's going to try and do. However, he's not going to be able to gain as much time on Toxic Fusion because Gravity was in a battle, allowing Toxic Fusion to get all the way ahead. So it does look like Toxic Fusion is still in the lead. So VSR Gravity really needs to gain a big on Toxic Fusion here. Also guys, just to inform you, Absolute Law is not here today. I am commentating by myself. So it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. It's kind of interesting for you guys to see, you know, me commentating by myself. However, Absolute Law is he just currently couldn't make it, and Baldy was racing. However, he is DNF'd, so maybe next week we could have 2 commentators here in the comm box. And guys, just to talk about next season, while we have the drivers out on their laps and passing each other, we have a lot in store for you guys next season, and I can't really tell you guys much. However, it is going to be a wild, wild season, I guarantee you. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, really, what Maldi has told me, so it's going to really boost STB up from where it is now, and it's going to make STB into a very big league. Indeed. Toxic Fusion is catching up on those tires, like I've said. Gravity should have pitted while he had 2 seconds. Now Toxic Fusion just behind him. And so is LRS Mercury.
Gravity needs to get into that pits. He needs to get away from Toxic Fusion, or Toxic Fusion is just going to pass him. However, while Gravity still has a gap between him and LRS Mercury, maybe he can keep second. However, he just needs to get into the pits now, in my opinion. Toxic Fusion is just picking up. His straight line speed is just absolutely amazing. And Gravity's is very, very low, considering he has old tires and he's not gonna pit again. What is Gravity doing? Gravity needs to pit. He needs to. If Gravity doesn't pit now, he's done. He's done for. Here we have Regret Roberts going into the pits as well. And VSR Gravity is still staying up in first, however, he's losing time. Toxic Fusion is just really quick on those straights. And I hope Gravity knows that he can't just keep going on those tires. There's 10 laps to go, and it's just not possible for him. It's just not going to happen. Gravity needs to pit now, but I don't think he's gonna pit is the worst part. I think he knows that Gravity is catching up to him. Please, Gravity, pit. What are you doing? Gravity, well, I don't know what Gravity's doing. And here we go. Bourne Buckley setting the best lap with 131.3. So Gravity needs to get into the pits and change these tires, or he's just gonna have to try and go to the ends. I mean, I think everyone needs to do at least one pit stop, so it's gonna be hard to see. Toxic Fusion, it does look like we are going to check the pace of VSR Gravity. Oh, and see his straight line speed. Their straight line speed is actually very, very similar, actually, now that I look at it. No, it's not. Not even close. Toxic Fusion is just much faster. And I think that, yeah, and here we go, guys. VSR Gravity needs to get ahead more. And it does look like Toxic Fusion might have made a mistake, because VSR Gravity is now 7/10 ahead. Bourne Buckley sitting the best lap again. And it does look like he hasn't moved the place in a while. Bourne Buckley hasn't. So it does look like DJ Danny now is getting lapped. the 10th place runner. And Gravity is trying to stay ahead of Toxic Fusion. And he needs to. Or Toxic Fusion's gonna get ahead of Gravity. Okay, Gravity needs to pit this next lap, or just keep defending Toxic Fusion. At this point, we all know that Toxic Fusion just has more pace on those tires. So if Gravity can just go ahead and hold them off, or it does look like Gravity's going a little bit softer on the tires than Toxic Fusion. Toxic Fusion's kind of struggling to keep up. Which is kind of weird because Gravity, you know, has worse tires, so... And it does look like they're lapping DJ Danny again now. And they are going around Toxic Fusion and Gravity. The battle for first here. It doesn't look like there's much more battles going on. The rest of the drivers are about 2 seconds behind each other. The only battle that's happening is between VSR Gravity and Toxic Fusion. And here we have it. Toxic Fusion trying to keep up with VSR Gravity. However, Gravity just puts this car out there and keeps ahead of Toxic Fusion. Finish player has gained 9 places. 9 full places from where he was. Which is absolutely astounding. Meaning he was in 14th place and made it all the way up to 5th. Dylan Games setting the best lap with a 131 flat. And now Toxic Fusion trying to get ahead of Gravity. And he still can't do it. Gravity is using the strategy he used in race 7 at Belgium. He is going to just keep going, and Gravity's going to try and get ahead of him. Oh no, and here we go. Toxic Fusion bringing around the outside, and Gravity keeps that position. Gravity literally has to stay ahead of Toxic Fusion. He is in Slipstream and DRS zone. Well, he was in DRS zone just then, and he just had total raw pace on Gravity, but Gravity kept his position by going up the inside. Gravity's racecraft has been always good. However, it does look like his strategies are a bit questionable right now, as I think he's not going to make it till the end with those tires. Actually, it could be possible. 5 laps to go here around Japan, meaning there's about maybe 10 minutes left to this race. So Gravity, if he can stay ahead for another 10 minutes, Gravity could win the Japanese Grand Prix. But it does look like Toxic Fusion wants it badly. for his points. But Gravity needs those points as well. They both need those points. They're both up on that podium for the championship standings. However, Toxic Fusion is now in DRS zone, but Gravity just pulls away again. Gravity seems to have a lot more pace in that first corner compared to Toxic Fusion. Toxic Fusion needs to go a lot harder on the brakes there and carry in speed, as Gravity just knows this track a lot better and he's more confident on the brakes. However, Toxic Fusion is braking a little bit way too early. As you can see, Gravity just carries pace through the corners, as Toxic Fusion kind of just, you know, brakes hard, then tries to start the car back up again. And, you know, Gravity's just already ahead of him by a couple tenths. But then, as soon as they get to the first corner again, you know, Gravity just goes up his inside and then uses his pace to his advantage. Amazing driving from two of these drivers today. VSR Gravity and Toxic Fusion are definitely some of the best drivers I've seen today. Also, Born Buckley, in my personal opinion, I mean, I've seen better from him. I mean, Buckley is a very strong driver, and he needs to, you know, kind of, you know, show that. However, now Toxic Fusion is ahead of Gravity, and he's not going to keep himself ahead now. Gravity has lost that position. He needed to pit and stay on those tires, as Gravity just keeps losing pace, and now he's at risk for maybe losing. This could be actually a double Red Bull on the podium if LRS Mercury can keep that going. However, Gravity needs to stay low. He needs to stay on Toxic Fusion for another lap, get into DRS zone, and then try and get ahead of Toxic Fusion. However, if he can stay just behind him here, yeah, you see the tires are just a big factor in play here. Gravity's running on maybe, I don't know, about 60% wear tires. Toxic Fusion maybe on 20%. So Gravity's tires are just about destroyed, and Toxic Fusion's are pretty close to fresh, a couple laps old really. And Gravity's, you know, he hasn't pitted in 24 laps, it looks like, so. Grant Roberts receiving that 3-second time penalty with multiple warnings. That's a lot of penalties for these drivers here. 5 drivers already out of the Japanese Grand Prix. Toxic Fusion making a mistake, and with 2 laps to go, he can't afford those mistakes. Gravity is trying to catch up.
However, I think Gravity could stay on that podium. Gravity should have pitted when I said at lap 14, as he would have been ahead of Toxic Fusion by now. If he would have pitted and got on quicker tires, I mean, he'd have more pace than Toxic Fusion, as he does look like he's more confident around this track. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think VSR Gravity is a little bit faster around this track. However, Toxic Fusion's tires are just burning Gravity out of the competition here. It doesn't matter for Gravity. His strategy at this point was just really poor. And he's not even close to DRS zone with 1 lap to go. After this one, it finally ends out the Grand Prix. Toxic Fusion, all he needs to do now is stay slow, and
He needs to run away or gravity is going to catch up. But I don't think it's going to happen. Toxic Fusion does look like he's going to be the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix. However, it is any man's game still. However, it does look like Toxic Fusion just has that raw pace with those tires. Gravity really needs to push these tires now. Push them as hard as he can. If he can get 2 more laps out of them, he'll be golden. Warren Buckley with another 3-second time penalty. And that is 3 penalties, actually. So, if Dylan Gaines can get within another 2 seconds of Buckley will be almost at back grid. So, and here we go. The last lap, lap 27 out of 27 in race 9 around the Japanese Grand Prix. Toxic Fusion goes to the first corner strong as Gravity follows behind with his very worn tires. This is the last battle of the race. Really pushing this car out here. VSR Gravity is trying to get to Toxic Fusion. However, he has pace. However, he needs to go faster. He needs to gain another 9 tenths to get ahead of last season's champion, Toxic Fusion, in order to win the Japanese Grand Prix. And here we go. Only a couple seconds left to go. They go through the last couple of corners. And it does look like Toxic Fusion is your Race 9 Japanese Grand Prix champion. Wait! Toxic Fusion had a penalty. VSR Gravity wins the race by penalties. What a race. And there we go. Gravity strategy proved to be right. I did not know that Toxic Fusion had a penalty. And there goes LRS Mercury, usually at mid-grid, up in that 3rd place position. 4th place Total Pure, last season's 3rd place champion. 5th is Finnish player, gaining 9 positions. He is probably definitely driver of the day with that, for me. FRT Bianchi and Born Buckley still going at it. However, Born Buckley knows that even if he does get ahead of Bianchi, it doesn't matter, because Born Buckley has a lot of penalties. And here we go. Buckley goes in and absolutely murders his tires. And Dylan Gaines going around, can he get ahead of Born Buckley? No, he can't. And there we go. Born Buckley keeps his position by just a couple of seconds. And that wraps out the race. And it is an absolutely amazing one for sure. And there you have it. Your season 12 Race 9 champion is going to be VSR Gravity. All the drivers winning are from Britain here, and 2 Red Bulls on the podium. as well as a Haas. So that's going to be a lot of points for the Red Bull in the standings. First is VSR Gravity, second Toxic Fusion, third LRS Mercury, fourth Total Pure, fifth Finnish Player, sixth the FRT Bianchi, seventh Born Buckley, eighth Dylan Games, ninth Regret Roberts, and down in 10th we have lost a bunch of drivers here to round out the grid. Okay, guys, and Maldi, are you doing the podium interviews or am I?
Well, you've seen the race, so yeah.
All right,
Okay,
I can do it then.
All right. First, I'm gonna start with LRS Mercury, in third. Mercury, how do you feel? I think he may be. Not positive.
Yeah, hello.
Mercury,
Oh, sorry.
how do you feel?
Yeah, it was an alright race. Got jumped off the start from Pure and got stuck behind him in the first stint, which kind of put me out of touch from two up front. But
Yeah. However,
managed to overtake him before the first pit stop, and just kept in front till the end.
very good driving from you indeed. I remember, first in the season, you were kind of mid-grid. Now you're up fighting with those top contenders in the league. How do you feel about that? And what have you been changing and making differently?
Well, I don't think it's that I've been changing anything. I'm driving the same. It's just more. I've been managing to nail the qualifying, making sure that I'm up the front, so I don't get involved in any first lap incidents, and just been a lot more lucky, I guess, in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that strategy has been proving very well for you indeed. But thank you so much, and congratulations on third place.
Thank you.
All right, in second place, we had Toxic Fusion. Toxic Fusion, I seen that you were in first place, but then lost by penalties, I'm pretty sure. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was a really fun race. Like, fair play to Gravity for keeping me on my toes for the whole thing. But yeah, it was on the final chicane on a lap before I overtook him. I broke just a tiny bit later than him, and to avoid contact, I had to sort of go over the curb, and that's what gave me like the final warning, and that's what gave me the penalty.
Oh,
So it's yeah, it's quite sort of tough to take, but it was a fun race. It was
that's
really
a
fun
tough
race.
pill to swallow indeed. I really thought that you were gonna take that, and I was thinking, like, why isn't Gravity going into the pits? But I kind of seen at the end of the race how his strategy was working, and
Yeah.
and how that was gonna unfold. But fair play to you and amazing racing. I seen you had a gap at
Thank you.
a gap at the start as well. I think it was like 16 seconds or something. When you went into that pit lane, did you think all those drivers were going to pass you, or did you think you were going to keep staying ahead?
I thought that Gravity was going to get past me, and it was quite close to. I can't remember who it was that was behind him when I went. Yeah, it was quite close to that, but that's kind of what I expected to happen. Because I knew that pitting quite late, going pits quite late when I was on my super softs, would give me much fresher tyres at the end, and that kind of showed the fact that I was able to sort of stay right behind Gravity for pretty much the whole stint.
Yeah, of course.
So,
and
yeah.
thank you so much for letting me interview you, and congratulations on second place.
You are welcome.
All right, and in first we have the race 9 winner, VSR Gravity. Gravity, how do you feel, man?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It was quite a sweaty race.
Yeah, of course. What was your strategy? Can you explain that to us? Like, were you planning to just stay on those same tires, or your first strategy, or did you kind of change it up a bit as the race went on?
No, I was always planning to go super softs to softs and take the softs all the way to the end. I was kind of wondering when Fusion would pit, because I really wanted the undercut, because I felt if I pit a lap early, I could jump him. And then after I pit, he stayed out for like 4 more laps, and it took me by surprise, to be honest. And then he
Yeah.
came right back at me at the end.
But yeah, only for that penalty, things would have been different. So amazing. Like, I mean, amazing strategy. Like, I remember you used that in another race as well, against him, when you used, like, the same tires for a long length of time, which is a pretty amazing strategy, and it proves effective, especially around these types of tracks. And well played to you, Gravity, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Maldi, and I guess you'll take away the conclusion.
Thank you, Jam. So, well done to your top three: LRS Mercury, VSR Gravity, and TOS X Fusion, all on the podium here in Japan. Unfortunately, commiserations to Fusion, who sadly lost the victory due to the penalty, but I'm sure he'll be back. Waiting Fusion, raring to go at one of your favourite tracks, I believe, USA.
Yeah, USA's. Yeah, that's definitely my favourite track. If that's the next one, it's either USA or Mexico. Either one,
Yeah,
I'm quite
USA.
happy at. So.
So that leaves us then. Thank you to VSR Jam. Thank you for heading up the commentary this evening, and we will see you next week for round 10. Only for three more races to go. So join us next week at 7 p.m. GMT for round 10, the United States Grand Prix, live from Austin, Texas. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.